Tortilla presses are among the most underrated kitchen tools, and part of the reason is because it's called a tortilla press. I mean, if that was the only thing you could make, sure, it might be an unnecessary luxury for taco enthusiasts, but this press can do so much more. A lot of the dishes you might make with this have Latin roots, things like tacos, enchiladas, pupusas, arepas, tatelas, empanadas, but it can also make things like flatbreads, chapatis, pitas. It can crush garlic, nuts. It can even turn ground beef into hamburger patties. Basically, anytime you need to flatten something, this device can be useful. But as underrated as its versatility is, to me the best part of owning a tortilla press is that the quality of your tortillas goes through the roof. If you have never tried making tortillas from scratch with some masa harina, you are missing out. I mean, I wish I could share the flavor difference through the internet. You're gonna have to find out for yourself. All I can say is that you will never find me buying store-bought tortillas again. It is a night and day difference. Before we explore the features of this particular press, we have to first ask, do we even need one at all? Can't we just use the bottom of a pot to flatten our tortillas? Do we really need an entirely new device that's going to clog up our kitchen cupboard? Honestly, maybe not. If you're only going to use this once a month, you may be better off without one. I totally get the appeal of a minimal kitchen. However, using the bottom of your pot will take more work. It'll be harder to get consistent presses with the right thickness. And because tortillas and flatbreads are core pieces of so many dishes that span so many cooking cultures, and there's an infinite number of ways you can mix and match them in so many different meals, you may find you use this press more often than you think. But to be honest, a pot was my first tortilla press, and you can definitely get by with one in a pinch. But if you're looking for a real tortilla press, the Dona Rosa Tortilla press from Masienda is by far and away the best one I've seen. There are 5 key dimensions that separate this press from all the rest, and one thing that I'd like to see Masienda improve. The first dimension is weight, and Masienda did not cut any corners here. The press is all steel, it weighs 10.5 pounds, which is roughly twice as much as my old cast iron press, which came in at 5.4 pounds. And because the key to getting consistently flat tortillas that aren't too thin or too thick in certain areas is a sturdy press, the extra weight on this one should improve your tortilla quality. The second dimension that makes this press unique is its size. Most tortilla presses use a circular shape with a 6 or 7 inch diameter, which means your total surface area is about 28 to 38 square inches. It's plenty of space to make small tacos, but you don't have much room for error, and it may be prone to overflowing dough if you try to make a larger tortilla. Masienda's press is an 8.5 inch square, so you're going to get roughly 72 square inches of space, which is about double the surface area of some of those smaller circular presses. This protects you from overflowing dough, it gives you more margin of safety, and it even allows you to create larger flatbreads or tortillas. But to make use of the size and weight of this press, you need leverage. And once again, Masienda nailed it. They have an 11-inch handle with a slight bend at the end to make each press a little more comfortable. And it may not seem like a big deal, but when you're making dozens of tortillas back to back to back, that extra leverage can really save you a ton of effort. I've used this press to make over 200 tortillas for a dinner party with no problem, but it would have been a full body workout if I was trying to do the same thing using the bottom of a pot. Even on smaller presses like my old cast iron one with an 8-inch handle, you'll need noticeably more effort with each press. As far as I know, there aren't any manual presses with as much weight, surface area, or handle length as Masienda's press. If you know of one though, leave it in the comments. So size, weight, and leverage are key ingredients for an easy, consistent press, but you're also going to be lifting, moving, opening, and closing this press a lot. So Masienda did 2 things that should be obvious, but for some reason aren't in many tortilla presses. They added legs on each corner of the press for easy lifting, and they added handles on the top of the press for easy opening and closing. Once again, this should be a pretty obvious UX improvement. It feels kind of weird to give Masienda props for this, but most other tortilla presses lay flat on the counter and they don't have handles for opening and closing them. Now, those are the functional dimensions that make Masienda's press extraordinary, but it's also worth noting this press comes in 5 colors. Most of the other tortilla presses out there are left unpainted. There are wood and cast iron and aluminum options, but they all use their natural colors. So if you've got a colorful kitchen or a particular aesthetic you're going for, Masienda's press is the way to go. However, there's one aesthetic issue that occurs on basically all presses, whether or not they're painted. At the point which the handle meets the top of the press, there's a lot of friction when you apply the press, and you're going to create a lot of flakes or chips, whether that's the metal or the paint. It comes off as you use the press. It's not a Masienda issue specifically. I've seen this on my other press too, but I really hope someone invents some kind of ball and socket joint or some way to reduce that friction, because it's concerning and frustrating to see flakes and chips, whether that's metal or paint, near your food. So we've covered the 5 ways that Masienda's press excels over the competition, but there's also one thing I'd like to see them improve. When you take a close look, the welding that connects all the different panels and legs to the body of the press, it's really messy. Masienda says these imperfections are due to the handmade nature of the product, but I gotta say it is my least favorite part of this press. And it's frustrating because Masienda nailed everything else. They got the weight, the size, the leverage, the touch points, the colors. It feels like they have a knockout product and they've just given up right before the finish line. Now functionally, these messy welds aren't a big deal. The press still works great. But aesthetically, all the uneven corners, the messy finishes, the sharp edges, this is the difference between a device that I want to showcase all the time on my kitchen counter and a device that I want to hide away in a kitchen cupboard whenever I'm not using it. But all things considered, this press is substantially better than all the other presses out there. It's not perfect, but it is built like a tank and it should last a lifetime. So if you want to upgrade your tortilla game and take your tacos to the next level, you can pick up this press for $95 at the link down below.